Okay, let's pick up with this spot in your notes. We are going to factor ax squared plus bx plus c. You guys did a nice job factoring the past couple days. In this lesson, we're going to factor expressions where there's a number in front. There's not simply just x squared, okay? And it's not as simple as saying, well, what are two numbers that multiply to -8 that add a -15? There are no numbers that multiply to -8 and add a -15. And so we have to, there's two options. I'm going to show you both. There's guess and check, and then there was what we call the AC method. So let's try the guess and check first. What are the two things that multiply to 2x squared? 2x and x. Good. So I know I have a 2x and an x. But then we have other combinations for this part. We have a -8. What are my options to multiply to -8? Yeah, you could have, and this is just to kind of show you how confusing it can be, you could have -4 and +2, or you could have -2 and +4. You could have -1 and +8, or you could have -8 and +1. Whoops, sorry about that. It's my wife. I didn't take the call. I was asking her what our plans were tonight because I want to go to the girls section hockey game. It's in Faribault, so, or no, Owatonna, and I kind of live there, so I have to ask my wife permission to do things. Just trying to figure out what the family's plans are tonight. So then we have to decide where they go. So is it a -1? Is it a +8? Is it a +8? Is it a -1? Like, where do things go? You're going -8 and +1. So let's try -8 and +1. So we'll try that. And the way that we check is the inside and the outside. So notice the inside gives me -8x, and the outside gives me +2x. Does that make the -15x? No. So you can hear my good friend JC is saying, Mr. Gentz, you scoundrel, I never wanted the -8 and the +1. I wanted a +1, and I wanted a -8. So let's check. We check those two, and we check those two. I get a 1x, and I get a -16x, and together that makes my -15x. So this is correct. You see that? All right, let's try another one. And you might ask, well, how do I know to not use the 4 and the 2? You don't. That's why it's called guess and check. Some people are better at their number sense and understanding. Is there a reason why you chose the 8 and the 1, JC? Yeah, is there a reason why you chose the 8 and the 1? Okay, so she saw that 8 times 2 is 16, and that brought her close to 15. So that was something that she tried, which I think is a good idea. Let's try this one. Okay. Oh boy, now I've got 8x squared out front. What multiplies to 8x squared? I've got 8x and 1x, or I got 4x and 2x. Which one do you want to try? Do you want to try the 8x and the x, or the 4x and the 2x? Okay, we'll try the 4x and the 2x. And then I have... No, only one of them works. So then I have 3, so I could try 3 and 1, or -3 and -1. Because those also multiply +3, right? Is it going to be a +3 and +1, or a -3 and a -1? We'll try the -3 and the -1. -3, -1. And I try. -3 times 2x is -6x, and 4 times -1 is -4x. Does that give me the -10x? It does, doesn't it? So this is correctly factored. And this one, 6x squared. I have 6x and x, or I have 2x and 3x. Which would you like to try? Want to try the 6? 6x and x. I've got -9, so I could go -9 and 1, or I could go -1 and 9, or I could go -3 and 3, right? Or and positive 3. What do you think? Not seeing something, are you? Let's ditch it. Let's move to the 2x and the 3x. 2x and 3x. Okay. What do you think? Sometimes you just got to try something. -9 and +1. So let's try. -9 and 3x make -27x. That's close to the -25. And then the 2x times 1 is 2x. Yeah, that adds to the -25x. That's correct. See how sometimes guess and check could be difficult? Yeah, it is trial and error. And I like guess and check. That's something that I use. But I'm going to go talk to the... All right. So if you get stuck on the guess and check, let's show you a method that will work all the time. This is called the AC method. And the reason why we call it the AC method is because we take A and we multiply C. Okay? We take A and we multiply C. So watch how this works. What is 2 times 8? So I'm going to write x squared minus 15x minus 16. Now, when there's not a number in front, it's easy to factor, isn't it? How does x squared minus 15x minus 16 factor? Is everybody okay with that first step? Okay, I multiply and I factor. Notice how I left room in front of the x's? That's on purpose. Because everybody can look at this and realize if you multiply these out, like -16 times 1, that's -16. It's not -8. And x times x is just x squared. It's not 2x squared. So this is not the final result, is it? So what we have to do is this. You got rid of the 2, put the 2 back. Not quite, almost. What number are both 2 and 16 divisible by? So divide each one by 2, and you get x minus 8. Are 2 and 1 both divisible by the same number? No, so you just leave it alone, 2x plus 1. And that's the factoring. And what do you notice? It factors exactly what we had over here. You see that? So you got 2 methods. All right, we'll show you again. What do I do first? I take 8 times 3, and I get x squared minus 10x plus 24. Does that factor to what? Close. The positive 2 and the negative 12, those do add to negative 10, but they multiply to negative 24. So I need a negative 4 and a negative 6. Okay, so I factored it like that, but what did I get rid of? Got rid of the 8, so what do I have to do with the 8? Throw it back on there. What are both 8 and 4 divisible by? 4. So divide it, and you get 2x minus 1. What are both 8 and 6 divisible by? And you get 4x minus 3. Notice 4x minus 3, 2x minus 1. So you get to choose the method that you want, But I will warn you that sometimes it may not give you the results you want. For example, this one right here, 6 times 9. $54. So that's part of the issue is right away when you start multiplying, sometimes you come up with some large numbers. And that's the bad thing about using what we call the AC method, is all of a sudden you get big numbers on the end. And those are sometimes challenging to deal with. So what are two numbers that multiply to negative 54 that add to negative 25? I'm seeing a lot of blank stares. It turns out that positive 2 and negative 27. 2 and 27 multiply to 54. You can see positive 2 and negative 27, they add to negative 25. So the AC method, it has its setbacks. It's sometimes hard to see what factors, right? Drop the 6 back in. What are both 6 and 2 divisible by? So divide it and you get 3x plus 1. What are 6 and 27 divisible by? Divide by 3 and you get 2x. Divide by 3 and you get 9. And you can see 3x plus 1 and 2x minus 9, the same thing as over here. So I don't care which method you use. That's entirely up to you. Some work better than others, but that's really your choice. That's the only lesson for today. I want you guys to practice factoring using the AC method. If you turn in your homework, you're going to see that you have this next factoring piece, which says factoring ax squared plus bx plus c, this guy right here. Okay. There's some problems on the front and a couple on the back. I'll post both answer keys here and come around and see if I can help you.